In this lesson, we want to go one step further because I'll walk you through a number of core strategies that you can apply right away to grow your business with retargeting. So let's take a look at them. The first strategy to use retargeting is to grow your fan base on Facebook. Let's take a look at a simple example. You're sending a visitor to your website, and on that website you have a retargeting pixel installed. Then you can create a retargeting ad, reach out to that website visitor again a few hours later or a day or 2 days later and tell them, hey, how about becoming our fan? This is a really great way to build up a relevant fan base very quickly. It's way better and way more efficient to ask a visitor of your website to become your fan because he already knows you and your company. Just reach out to him. And if you send that visitor to a great looking website, maybe it's a blog and you delivered some truly helpful content, guess what? There's absolutely no reason why he shouldn't become your fan on Facebook. So instead of reaching out to strangers, just create a retargeting campaign that re-engages with your website visitors and then just expose them to an ad asking them to become your fan, to follow you on Facebook. It's basically how I grow fan bases whenever I have a website that I'm working with, no matter it's for my own project or whether I'm working with a client. This is the way to go if you have a website in place that receives some traffic. Because again, stop reaching out to strangers. If you're hardly receiving any traffic, well, then you have to use the interest targeting section to get some traction on your fan page. But if you have a website in place that receives traffic, that delivers some true value and that creates some trust between your visitor and your company, then for God's sake, just re-engage with him, ask him to become your fan on Facebook. You will have a really high success rate if you do that. The way to do it, or the way to create a custom audience list, is really the following. Select the option anyone who visits your website. You can get a little bit more specific and say, I just want to reach out to people who visited a very specific website or web page on my website. So you can say, I just want to reach out to people who already made it to my blog section or who read a particular piece of content, right? However, in 90% of the cases, I try to keep things simple, and this is what I recommend to do. If you have a good looking website in place, then just reach out to anyone who was your website visitor. So just go ahead and select the first option. Then just include the URL of your website in the second section. And what I would do is to create a retargeting list and keeping people for 5 days on that particular list. You want to have some degree of recency here, so you don't want to reach out to website visitors and ask them to become your fans 30 days after they made that visit. Probably they don't remember you anymore if they didn't become your blog subscribers or email subscribers or your buyers. So if you're targeting website visitors only, keep some certain recency here, and what I recommend to go for something like 3, 4, 5 days. And last but not least, just include a audience name. Go for something like website visitors 5 days, website visitors 3 days. And then you can just go ahead and use that custom audience, that website custom audience you created in the ad setup process and create an ad that reaches out to your website visitors and that asks them, hey, become our fan. How to include that custom audience that you created, that's something that we will cover in the next video. But that's the way how you customize your website custom audience, which is the first step in the process in order to generate a fan base on Facebook with retargeting. Another great strategy to use retargeting is to generate leads to grow your email list. So this is a typical scenario that you will face whenever you try to grow your email list. And we already talked about this earlier. So you're sending a visitor to a squeeze page. That's the place where you ask him to opt in. You ask him, leave your email address and you'll get this free report in exchange. If that visitor takes action and if he provides his email address, he will get automatically forwarded to a thank you page. Now, what about these visitors who just don't opt in? In a world without retargeting, you just couldn't re-engage with these visitors, which is kind of sad because he already showed some interest in your business, in your offer. However, with retargeting, you can just place a retargeting pixel on your website and then just follow up with them on Facebook, re-engage with them and tell them, hey, I showed you this really great offer. Why didn't you claim it? Get it now. Get this free report now. So you can just send them a reminder on Facebook and send them back to the actual squeeze page. If you want to set up this kind of retargeting campaign and just send back a visitor to the squeeze page, then you have to create a retargeting list, a new custom audience. And please set it up in the following way. Select the option people visiting specific web pages but not others. So here's what you will do. Choose the third option because that's basically the option that is designed for any kind of funnels. And what you have here in place, what we talked about earlier, is a full email funnel. So what you will do in the next step is to include people who visit any web page that meets the following rules. Just enter the name, the URL of your squeeze page. So in this case, it's www.adbaker.de/email. Let's just go back. Can you see that? That's the URL of the squeeze page. So just copy paste this one and enter it in this field. And then you want to exclude people who visit any web page that meets the following rules. You want to exclude everyone who already made it to the thank you page, because these are the people who have opted in successfully, who gave you their email address. You don't want to create a retargeting ad asking them to opt in a second time. So you want to exclude the ones who made it to the thank you page. Let's go back again. Can you see the URL of the thank you page that you have in place? So just copy paste that one and just enter it in the exclude people field. And with regards to the amount of days, set it to something like 3 days. Again, you want to have a certain degree of recency here, and you want to follow up with people who still remember the actual squeeze page or the actual offer they got exposed to. So you just want to send them a reminder, but don't send a reminder 30 days later. And at the end, just again select a audience name, go for something like squeeze page retargeting, and you should actually even enter the number of days. Something else that you should definitely consider, there are two options when you include and exclude certain people who viewed a specific web page. So always make sure to select the option URL equals and not the option URL contains, because URL equals is just more specific, it's very accurate. So when you copy paste full URLs, remember, always select the option URL equals. But there is another way how you can use retargeting to grow your email list, and it's really the following. Enter to a squeeze page and he doesn't make it to the thank you page. What we did a minute ago was creating a retargeting list and an ad and just sending that visitor back to the actual squeeze page and tell him again, hey, reconsider your decision, what happened, just opt in. What you could do instead is using retargeting and sending that visitor to a brand new lead magnet, to a brand new offer. Tell him, you didn't like the lead magnet on how to get 1,000 Facebook fans within 24 hours? How about a brand new offer? How about a free report on how to get 1,000 blog readers or 1,000 email subscribers? So just offer him something new that's still relevant, but just something different, okay? And if you see that a visitor didn't take action on the first offer, just send him to a new offer. And then there's another way to use retargeting to grow your email list. So instead of sending a visitor straight to a squeeze page, you can send them to an article first. And once he read that article, you just have a retargeting pixel in place and you create a retargeting ad that will follow up with him on Facebook and will expose him to a squeeze page. So to an opportunity to stay in touch with you and just to leave his email address. Now, why should you send someone to an article first or any piece of content and then to a squeeze page? If you're sending a visitor to a squeeze page first and he has never heard about your company, you're some anonymous entity that he has never seen. So there's absolutely no reason to trust you. However, when you send him to an article first, you gave something valuable for free. You tell him, hey, here's an article that is focusing on a very particular problem that you have. You give him some free advice or just record a really great video, something straight to the point that's really helpful and relevant to his problems. You provide a little part of the solution that he's seeking. And he remembers that. He will remember that, trust me. There is a lot of crap today on the internet. And quality still stands out. So if you send him to some high quality piece of content, so if you send him to a piece of content that's really high quality, he will remember that. I don't know how about you, but I can still remember what article I read 6 months ago or a year ago that really impressed me. So what you can do in that case is to really try to impress your potential client, your visitor, with some really great piece of information, right? Just really do the best job that you could possibly do on that article, on that video, or whatever it is that you're offering. It could be even an infographics. Send him to an article first, then create a retargeting list that captures every visitor, and then just follow up with him and expose him to an ad saying, hey, how about a free guide on how to get 1,000 Facebook fans? This visitor will go like, oh, I remember these guys. I read a really terrific article about how to generate Twitter followers. Sure, just where can I opt in? What you do with this strategy is to build trust that will pay off later down the road. And the way to set up a retargeting list to do that is actually pretty simple. Select the option people who visit a specific web page and then just enter the full URL of your article. So the piece of content that your visitor got exposed to. Then set the amount of days to 3 days. Again, you want to have a certain degree of recency here and just give your audience a name. So this is what I highly recommend. Again, if you have a piece of content in place, this is a fantastic way to grow your email list.